Good evening and welcome to the Disney Discord podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Graham, with DLRP Roundup, and tonight I'm joined by.
Bernardo from the Main Street News, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
It is always a pleasure. It is always a pleasure. I've got to have to admit, I actually forgot we were doing a podcast tonight until you invited me into the chat. That
Okay.
was always a good start to a podcast when you forgot you were going to do that. But here we are. We're live. We're live now. That's all that matters.
Mhm.
So we had a bumper podcast the last time, which went on for ages, and this time I think we'll have a slightly shorter podcast. We're going to try really hard, everybody, to have a shorter podcast this time. We have a couple of things we're going to burn through. We're going to have a quick chat about Walt Disney World. I was there about a week ago, and I got back, so we're going to have a chat about my experience there, and then we're going to have a chat about the $60 billion that has been announced for the expansion of the Disney parks and Disney Cruise Line. We are going to chat
Mhm.
about the Disney Village in DLP and some news we've got there. And we're going to chat finally about D23 and the news that fell out there. If we had an intro tune, we'd probably play it now. We don't, so we're going to crack on. Do you have anything else you
So,
want to add to that?
no, I think that's a great lineup for today's podcast. So let's go ahead and start with your own vacation. How was it?
It was a very good trip. It was a very, very good trip. I was actually staying just outside Disney in Celebration, which previously was
Mm-hmm.
a unit that was built around Disney. It's on US 192, and I was literally about a 6 minute drive from Epcot. And one
Oh
of
well.
the really nice things about the hotel that I was staying, which was the Delta Hotel, which has just been taken over by Marriott. One of the really nice things about the hotel was that you could actually see the Epcot dome at night. You could actually look across while you were in the hotel and see the
Face your
sphere
Perth.
lit up.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're
So
in
that was quite
celebration. Yeah,
cool.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long
So
did you stay in Disney and Universal?
well, well, I was there for 10 days. So between Disney and Universal, I was there for 10 days. I probably spent about 8 days in Disney in total. Visited all the parks
Okay.
and done the Halloween Horror Night. So I think maybe the Halloween Horror Night is the first place you should probably start the game to find out, what were they
Mm-hmm.
doing and what can we learn from that? And I think one of the coolest things that I seen was the Halloween Horror Nights again. A lot of people saying it's busier than it ever has been, but I didn't see that. I actually thought it was quieter than the last time I was there. Like I
Okay.
genuinely thought that the Halloween Horror Night has for years been getting busier and busier and busier, and it's been getting harder and harder to get anything done. And for once, I
Mm-hmm.
actually thought, wow, Disney have sold less tickets to this party than they normally would have. So,
Yeah. So, but
it,
how was it? I've never been
it,
to Halloween Horror Nights before, so.
oh, not Halloween Horror Nights. It's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I'm getting so confused. I'm getting so
Oh.
confused. I'm getting all
Oh.
confused
So,
because we're here and
so
I've
did
had
you
no
go
time to
to?
prepare. I done both. I done both.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
Halloween Horror Nights is the Universal
Mm-hmm.
event, which is absolutely terrifying and is probably, I think it's far too scary for what we should actually be doing. Mickey's Not So
Okay.
Scary Halloween Party is, of course, Walt Disney World's version of Halloween in the Magic Kingdom. So the two, let's compare the two of them. So we have nothing in Paris this year, which is really disappointing. Um,
Not true, not true. You
but
have the annual pass exclusive party in about a week from now.
yeah,
So there's
that's
something, a little bit
some.
something.
It's about half a nothing. So I mean, so we Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, huge party. I'd estimate probably 50,000 guests get in each night. It does usually sell out before, if not on the night of
Mhm.
the party. There are two Halloween parades. They're identical. So you get to choose which parade you get to watch. The first one or the second one. You
Oh,
have a Halloween specific fireworks show, which I think is called Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Spectacular. It used to be all themed around the parade is Boo to You, and then the fireworks used to be Happy Hallowishes rather than
okay.
the normal wishes it was on. It's marginally different to the original show. It's a different story, but I think the fireworks are identical. Somebody's probably going to jump in and be like, it's absolutely not, but I'm pretty sure it's the same fireworks, just a different kind of narration and a different projection. So I don't think it's as good as the normal Happily Ever After fireworks. I think they
Yeah,
actually
Happily
have
Ever
the
After is
edge.
just fantastic. Happily Ever After is a fantastic fireworks show. So it's
Yeah,
really hard to compete with that.
well, it is. I mean, they've tried. They've obviously tried, and it's a big show.
Yes.
It's a good. It is a long show as well. I remember. I think the video is about 17,
Yes.
maybe 19 minutes long. That's a lot of
Hmm.
pyro. But then you are paying what? I mean, the tickets start at $109 for the cheapest nights, and then I think they top out in the 200s somewhere. So you
Well,
are paying considerably to be at that. Like it's more expensive than a day ticket.
yes, but
And
yeah, yeah, that's true. I
you
did go
have to
last
have,
year. I went last
yeah,
year with to do one of those parties, and I just went to do every single attraction in the Magic Kingdom because the lines are significantly shorter than normal days.
yeah.
So
Other
I
than
just
other than the
personally
haunted
do that.
mansion.
Yeah, yes, of course. Anything that's Halloween related is obviously very packed. But other than that,
So
yeah,
you Space Mountain in the pitch black, so it's already very dark in
yes,
there. But they turn off
yes,
every light. I'm not sure if you call it an overlay. I mean, they do call
it's
it an
not really
overlay.
an
It's not
overlay.
an overlay. It's really just all light is now turned out.
Hmm.
So you get that. We were given huge amounts of candy. You get to do trick or treating
Hmm.
and get candy for it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Huge
yeah.
amounts. I mean, they basically, I think, go on the assumption that most people fill their bag and then stop. So I'm pretty sure this year they've just gone out their way to give you a lot more early on so that you'll fill your bag really quickly and then
Uh-huh.
stop. So
Interesting.
it was good. It was busy, but it wasn't as busy as it's been in previous years. A lot of people have been arguing with me online about that, saying that it's the busiest it's ever been. I mean, I've done it about I don't know 5 or 6 times. It definitely wasn't the busiest one I've
Hmm.
been to. And then we done Halloween Horror Night at Universal, which is Universal's take on Halloween, and there is no trick or treating at that. And it is basically designed to try and terrify you as much as possible. There's two main. There's maybe three elements to it. Um, there is the haunted houses where you go through an attraction like
Yes.
experience where a bunch of people try and scare the living hell out of you and succeed usually. Um, you have the walking horrors, which is where you walk through scare zones and people jump out and chase you with chainsaws and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Um, and then, of course, you've got the attractions, which have very, very small waits. The only problem with it, they again sell probably, I don't know, 45 to 50,000 tickets in the Universal Orlando park. However, they also sell a bunch of express passes. The express passes then gum up the queues. The queues are very long. Unless you stay till very late in the night, unless you're kind of there 11:30 p.m., midnight, 1, you're going to be stuck in a 90-minute to 2 hour queue. Like
Oh,
it's
wow.
not
For a
it,
haunted house.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it's
But
not
were
but I
they
think
good? I've heard a lot of good things about I think it's The Last of Us.
yeah, I
So,
mean they're very good. They're very well themed and they're very well done. I mean they terrify living daylights out of you. It's just they're a long wait. And then because it's such a
yeah.
limited experience,
Hmm.
because it's such a limited experience, everybody wants to do everything.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
I think you're better
Yeah,
if you're going to do that. Don't turn up for opening. You're far better going late. It's open till 2 in the morning. It's quite a late ceremony. You're best going to that.
yeah. Hmm.
This year they had a good number of houses. They generally, there's a couple of houses that get held over year to year, but they're quite good at refreshing them. And over, a 5, 6 year period, you're probably not getting any houses that are duplicates. Like it is a new experience each time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, if you're terrified and you do like horror movies like me, you probably just skip
Oh, yeah, I hate
it.
horror movies. So, yeah. But it sounds interesting, the whole party and everything.
Well, they
I would
sell it
like
out.
to. Yeah, of course. A lot of people love them. A lot of people, wait the whole year for just that. So
Yeah.
it must be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to
So
try it
other
someday.
other experiences. Tron. Got to try Tron. Wasn't impressed with Tron at all. Um,
Really?
it's
Why?
over in about
Is
nine.
it
It's
too
over in
short?
about. Yeah, it's like honestly, it's like 90 seconds. You don't really the fantastic light up effects and everything. You don't really get to see because you're going past them too fast. And
Oh yeah,
unlike, I'm trying to think, the other bike coaster in Orlando, which is Hagrid's,
Hagrid's
at
hell.
least that,
Hagrid's is huge.
yeah,
That's
it's a huge,
absolutely a huge
long, it's
coaster. Yes, yes, yes. Hmm.
lots of elements, lots of fun things. There's lots of twists,
Yeah,
turns, drops,
that
backwards,
drop
forwards,
was amazing. Yes, I love that.
and
I love that
then
coaster.
you end up with kind of Tron, which goes in a straight line, but kind of quick.
That's
Like it's
disappointing.
not. It is. It is. I genuinely, for the amount of years I've spent building it, I don't think Tron was a very good ride. Um,
Mm,
and I'm not
that's
convinced
sad.
that once I'm not convinced once it comes off the virtual queue system that many people will actually ride it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, a couple of things that I was thinking about while I was there.
Hmm.
They have significantly more cast working in the States than they have.
Compared to Paris.
Yeah, I mean
Yes,
the numbers are
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
astronomical.
Hmm. Yep.
Like when they
Yeah,
say they
I
can't hire
completely
enough,
agree.
I mean when they say
They
that
have
they can't,
people everywhere, and I mean everywhere. It's staggering. No, in Hollywood Tower Hotel, for example, in the lobby, where in Paris you have one, maybe two cast members. I think I counted up to six in one morning. So there's a lot of people working in there everywhere. Every shop is filled with cast members. Every hotel is filled with cast members. So it's a very different experience when compared
yeah,
to Paris.
there's a lot more cast, and I think they rely quite heavily on the cast to kind of bridge the gap between the astronomically long wait you get for basically everything. So there's
Hmm.
always a queue in the shops. There's always a queue
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
restaurants. There's always a queue at the beverage carts. So because you've always
Hmm.
got these queues, the cast basically try and bridge that gap. They have a sort of fake friendliness though, and
Yeah,
I don't know if this is
they have
just
to
because I'm a
make up for
miserable.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is this just because
Right.
I'm like miserable, like a miserable British person, or is it because or is it because like we're from Europe and like it's that fake friendliness? Like they're like, "Hi, friend, welcome. I'm so glad you've decided to visit us today." I'm like, "No, you're not. Just give me a Diet Cola."
It's a bit too much.
It is a bit too much, but then the Americans all complain if they don't get that sort of service. So it's a catch
Yeah, yeah,
twenty
yeah, yeah,
two.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Like
they
they're like,
have
"Oh my
to.
god,
Hmm.
she was so rude. She didn't wish us a happy day." And I'm like, "You're in Disney. You're for granted you're taking a happy day." Um, I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, it was far too hot. It was 36 degrees for the majority of the trip, which was
Oh well.
beyond the level where I felt comfortable in the heat, to be fair. So
Yeah. And the
they have a lot of
humidity
cast.
doesn't
Yeah,
help.
the humidity, it doesn't. But they have a lot of cast. They have a lot of transport options. I'm always in awe that you can, if you're traveling from Epcot, you can get on a boat to Hollywood Studios. You've got the Skyliner, you've got monorails, you've got boats at the
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom. Like, there's so much like free transportation, um,
Hmm.
and you've got all that, um, and then in Paris you've got that moving walkway basically.
It's been broken for the last 29 years of its existence. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the moving walkway. So in some ways, I always get so sad that transportation's just kind of like, yeah, we've got the
Yeah.
train. That's kind of all you're getting. So I would definitely say though some of the attractions at Walt Disney World are now well past their prime and probably
Oh
need
yeah, yeah.
I mean, Big Thunder Mountain's nowhere near as fun. Space Mountain, I genuinely wasn't scared of the dark. I was more scared that the ride was probably going to fall apart while we were on it. Like
Exactly.
it's a
Exactly.
it's a good
That's
age. It's a good
yeah.
yeah. So that was that. overall, the investments they've made, I think the Moana Journey Water thing looked really fun. I could see into it. We never got to preview it, but you could see into it, and it looked beautiful and it looked well done. The entrance Epcot looked really nice. It was really nice, spectacular, open sort of views and stuff. It's going to take them a little while to open that up. Galaxy's Edge was doing. Galaxy's Edge is taking on a new sort of life. They've now stopped being so serious about the time period it's in. So you now get characters from all across the Star Wars timeline.
Yeah. That's something that a lot of people actually complain about. So I'm glad
I
they're going
like
back
it.
on that decision. No. I love having new characters, that just don't fit in the timeline. I don't care about the
Yeah.
timeline. I just want to meet Mandalorian and Grogu and all of them at the same time. I don't care. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so that was quite good. I quite liked that. Other people, I'm sure, are very annoyed about it. I liked it. Um, big takeaway for me there is that land is crying out for nighttime entertainment. Like it's crying out for like a light up lightsaber show. It's crying out for just really cool stuff like that. Rise of
Something,
the
just
Resistance.
something.
I don't know if you know this, but Rise of the Resistance, the main animatronic of Kylo Ren is broken.
Oh yeah, I saw
So
it. It's been working for a while.
yeah, so I mean they've just kind of pulled that. It's kind of interesting when people are kind of like Walt Disney World. This would never happen in the States. I promise you, it does happen in the States, and they do
Yeah.
just sweep things like that under the carpet for a long time.
Mhm.
And we ate at Rodeo Roundup Barbecue, which
Oh, so
which
how
was
was it?
dreadful.
The new Was it bad?
It was very bad.
What?
You have to book.
The food
You
was
book an
bad?
appointment. The whole thing was bad. So you book
Oh
an
wow.
appointment. We booked. I think we were booked in for like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We turned up. We turned up
Oh
at
wow.
5 to 4. We checked in. We
Mhm.
then got ignored for a bit. I mean, we checked in. They were like, "Yeah, we'll come. We'll give you a shout when your table's ready." So we waited about 20 minutes. Nobody shouted us. We went and spoke to them. Like, "Yeah, it's definitely. It's just coming. It's just coming." 15 minutes later,
Mhm.
still nothing. And
Oh wow.
then about 5 minutes later, I was like, "Look, why can we not have a table?" Like, "Oh, we've just got one now. Welcome, friend. I'm so glad." I was like, "Oh my god, like that's not going to dig you out of this." So sat down at the table. I don't know what I expected. I tried to go in without watching videos or anything. So
Mhm.
it's themed to Toy Story, but not in a good way.
Okay.
It's
So it's
it,
just
it's
bad.
just
It's
it's
just
just
bad.
Toy Story kind of. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like it's all very flat. It's all very.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. It's 3D, but not very.
Mhm.
Um, and you sit while they play kind of Toy Story music in the background, and every now and again a character shouts over the radio like Andy's coming, and everybody has to pause.
While
But
they're eating.
yeah, but nothing happens. Then just the bell goes and everybody claps, like nothing.
Okay.
Um, so
Yeah.
everybody cheers, and I'm kind of like, you've sat. I mean, it's the equivalent of like turning the lights out and then being like, "Haha, that was great, wasn't it?" The food they bring you, it's a buffet at a table, which presumably was designed during COVID, with the idea being that everybody could get a feast at their table and you didn't have to go up to the buffet. The only problem is COVID's now passed. So what you get, you can't choose like half meat and half veggie. You choose either for the table, you're having meat or you're having veggie.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so
So it's
they
not a
come across.
buffet at all.
Well, it's a buffet at the table, but not in the sense. I mean, just imagine it. They bring you across literally a big tray of food, more than you could
Oh,
ever hope
okay.
to eat. So they
Okay,
dump
so
that on
it's
your
too much
table,
food.
far too much food, like well beyond the limits of mere mortals. Um, and you get to pick sides, but of course, I mean, for two of us, to start with, we got four salads, and when I say four salads, they're about the size of kind of like I don't know, like when you buy a lasagna and it comes in that little tray.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got like four salads, to start
For
with.
two people.
For two people, 4 salads. That was like
Oh
the
wow.
appetizer. Then you got this big, like, multiple kilo dish of just cooked meat, which was like 6 ribs
Oh
and
wow.
chicken legs,
Wow.
sausages, just a big hefty dish of meat. And then on the side of that, you got sides that were big dishes, like mashed potatoes and corn on the cob and potato salad and things like that. And it was just far too much food. None of it was very good. This is a common theme. The Americans, everything's served to you in jumbo, but never tastes very good. It's all kind of bland. So there was an awful
Hmm.
lot of bland food, but a lot of bland food.
Yeah.
And then the service was dreadful. Like, it took forever, which I don't really get because everybody was eating the same thing. And then you basically leave again, and I just think the experience was up to very much. There was no interaction, there was no characters. Quite dark. It wasn't themed particularly well. It kind of put out there as a sort of half character interaction, but I mean, the character interaction is just the characters occasionally shout over the radio. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not
I
quite
think
what
that's
you'd
a
imagine.
problem. I think that's a problem with the entire land because you're not actually in the Toy Story world. You're basically in Andy's backyard, I think. So that's the theme. It could be a lot more
Yeah,
interesting, but which is something that Imagineering has been in a trend. I think something could be a lot more interesting, but no, it's this that you have, and well, okay, so it's almost the same with Batu, with Galaxy's Edge. You could be in a amazing planet you've seen your entire life in Star Wars, but no, here's an entirely new planet that you have no connection with some characters that from the sequels, and well, that's it. But it could be a lot better. So I think that's an issue with Toy Story as well, Toy Story Land,
yeah.
which
Their Toy
extends
Story
to
Land's
the
quite.
restaurant. Yeah.
I definitely think, if we're thinking more locally about DLP, they could definitely do a Toy Story restaurant, and they could probably do a couple more attractions. I think that people really like the Toy Story Land, and certainly like the swirling saucers
Mm-hmm.
and Slinky Dog's roller coaster. I know we've already got that little roller coaster thing, but the bigger
Yeah.
sort of roller coaster was quite good as well. So I
Yeah.
don't think there isn't scope there. Now, before
I
we
think
drone on, we should probably talk.
the only
Sorry,
problem in Paris, just to continue that, is that there's just not there's no space to do that. They
plenty of
made
space.
the
Oh,
expansion.
we're about to have a big
Yeah, but
lake that has nothing around it.
yeah, sure. But how do you connect that? You have Cars Road Trip in one end, and you have the promenade in the other, and you just have Toy Story Playland in the middle, just there existing.
Yeah, as usual, the
There's no,
box they're selling.
yeah. And there's no
You could
food
make it work.
options in the land, which I don't comprehend because you could have so many different interesting food options. Like I don't know, it's just something from the Toy Story universe just to play with, and
Well,
you don't have anything.
remember we had we had Pizza Planet. Remember, and then we got rid of it.
Yeah, sure, okay.
I mean,
The Pizza
it
Planet
wasn't a
from
good.
Wish.
Yeah, but we could have an actual Pizza Planet, like a real one.
Yeah.
Um, don't worry, let's not labour that point. So, on
Yeah.
my last day there, I'm going to go out of sequence a little bit, but on my
Hmm.
last day there, as we were leaving, there were people arriving for D23, or Destination
Oh yeah,
D23. It wasn't
yeah,
actually
yeah.
D23, it was Destination D23.
Which was
Um,
held in the Contemporary, right?
it was.
Hmm.
So, do you want to lead us through what was announced there or what wasn't announced
Oh
there?
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Not a lot was announced. They talked some more about blue sky concepts and ideas and a lot of mumbo jumbo, but not anything. Well, we did have some new things that will be happening for sure. You have the Zootopia show Under the Tree of Life replacing its stuff to be a bug, which I think it's a bit outdated. The show
Yeah.
the animatronics don't work. There are like two animatronics. They mostly just don't work or fully work at least. So Zootopia will be calling that theater home, which I think it's
Yeah.
okay. To be honest, I'm not super excited.
Well, I guess A Bug's Life. I mean, it's A Bug's Life that's in it just now,
Hmm.
and that doesn't resonate with kids today. I don't think. I think that's probably old, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I think it
Then you
makes
had
sense to change up.
the Pirates of the
The pirate
Caribbean themed
lounge. So you have
lounge.
this.
So it's a
Yeah, I think
bar.
it's like a. Yeah, it's basically a bar. Which I think it's actually something interesting. You have the parrot, which used to be, I think, in the entrance of Pirates of the Caribbean, which will be making its grand return into this tavern. I think that was what
Hmm.
Josh called it, a tavern, Pirates of the Caribbean tavern. So this could be, I think, the first time they actually sell alcohol in the Magic Kingdom. For not
Yeah.
a limited time event. So I think they don't sell any type of alcohol right now. So if I mean a tavern needs alcohol, I think, right?
Hmm.
You can have a
Well, you'd
pirate
think
tavern without a beer or I don't know something, rum. I don't know,
malt
but I
spins.
think that it should be the first time the Magic Kingdom has alcohol. Which okay, well, interesting.
So we,
And
we
then you
got
have
that. Then
the Country Bear
go on.
Jamboree getting
Yeah.
a complete revamp with new songs and a new act, as they call it.
We can
Which,
hope that
from
we can.
what yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say we can only hope that it catches fire while it's getting burnt, built and burned down.
Yeah, you're
More
a
hope.
great fan from.
I am not. I mean, the Country Bear Jamboree is Country Bear Jam, but not happening. But we've still got it. I guess they had to modernise it because half it's half it's a little bit unsuitable. I would think for a
Yeah,
modern
yeah, yeah,
audience.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, it'll get it. I think it's going to get some Disney songs. Not all of them, I think, but the one they did show us was a Disney song, which was I don't remember what song it was, but it was from Disney. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. Not sure. And then we had a first look at the vehicle for the new Avengers Campus attraction coming to California Adventure, which is very similar to the one from the Adventures of Spider-Man from Islands of Adventure.
mhm.
Which is an absolutely amazing attraction. And if they can recreate some parts of it, or innovate, because that ride is like 20 years old now, it could be a very well done ride. It'll be
Mhm.
interesting again to see how that plays
It
out.
does. They talk about the Xandarian jump points there, which there's
Oh yeah.
the oddity is that that's obviously the narrative of the Guardians of the Galaxy roller
Mm-hmm.
coaster in Epcot. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that they use the Xandarian kind of thing as well, and it kind of loosely, not entirely, but loosely plays into the narrative of DLP's Flight Force.
How does it? I don't think so.
Well, the whole thing about Flight Force is you're supposed to be like jumping and chasing things. I mean, let me go through how they.
I'm pretty
I'm pretty
sure it's just some missiles that are coming to Earth, and you gotta save Earth by stopping the missiles.
by high speed twists and turns. Yeah, there's no jump points, but
There's no jump points yet. They didn't have the budget for that.
hmm, no, they didn't have jump of that.
No.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, okay. It's maybe just similar enough.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let's say it's interesting.
You're still hoping we get a copy of it, obviously.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Because
Yeah,
Avengers Campus needs something more.
yeah,
Um. So well,
it
let's
does.
see. Yeah, it definitely does. So then we have Test Track, which will be getting a complete revamp, which I'm honestly very excited about. I was not expecting, test track to be changed, but it makes sense because that it has that whole Tron aesthetic, which just doesn't make sense when you have a Tron roller coaster and attraction in the other park. So this is like a cheap Tron-esque kind of theme, and they'll be
Yeah,
taking inspiration
D-Tron.
from they'll be taking inspiration from World of Motion, which was the original attraction which Test Track replaced. So I'm actually pretty excited about this one. I think
It'll
the
be its
cars.
third overhaul. I don't think there's anything bad with that. It's a good ride. It's a good ride system as well.
Yes, it's a very good ride system. Well, that's it. And then lastly, we have the mumbo jumbo Blue Sky Josh was referring, which changed from last year into this one, which used to be a Moana themed land mixed with Zootopia, which got a lot of backlash. People saying Zootopia doesn't belong in Animal Kingdom, blah blah blah. So now we have Coco
Sorry,
in like
what?
a
How can you
Mexican
argue?
area. Yeah, go ahead.
No. How can Zootopia not be an animal kingdom? It literally is like animals in the animal kingdom. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's debatable actually. I would
Oh,
say
only if you're
because
going to get very literal on it. It's supposed to. I mean, I get Zootopia
I
is
mean
like the animals technically
Zootopia.
run the world, but
Sure, you have animals acting, but they're acting as people, not animals. So
yeah. But if I was
it's
10 and I thought, where are the animals and which park would I put the animals in? I would think,
well,
if I
yeah.
was 10, I would expect to see Zootopia and Animal Kingdom. I think
Well, that's why they're putting Zootopia under the Tree of Life, so you can have Zootopia in Animal Kingdom without
good.
ruining that whole area.
Obviously, it's got the wrong end of everybody's stick. But no, that looks very good. The only problem we've got is none of it is very concrete. It's all kind of, there will be
Yeah,
some overhauls. None of
that,
it's
and it
nothing's.
also doesn't have anything to do with animals. Also, you have Coco and Encanto and Indiana Jones. So yeah, I think Indiana Jones. You could go to the most that mythical side of Animal Kingdom that wasn't really explored, but was going to be originally with that whole dragon land that was going to be in
Mhm.
Animal Kingdom, which Pandora then replaced. But so if they go that route, I could see that happening. But then in Kanto, you have the little boy's power, which is to communicate with animals. So that could be it. I don't know. But then you have Coco, which doesn't have anything to do with um, animals.
No,
So yeah.
yeah.
Well, but
Although they kind of
as a land,
is it not?
it does. They call it tropical Americas, which I think it's better than they were planning because you have now you have an area of the world, which is something that normally happens in Animal Kingdom. We have Asia and Africa, and I think they have Asia, Africa. What do they have
Not
more?
just yeah, but not just that in Pandora. Not just that.
Yeah.
We've been arguing for years that we don't want these single IP lands. Instead, we want
Yeah.
multi
Hmm.
IP. And in fairness, Tropical Americas is not a single IP land. It is a multi IP
Yeah.
land.
Yeah.
It's still
That I
it's still
yeah.
IP, but it's multi. So
Yes, I know. Yeah, that was one of the major good things about this. I think that they need to bring back not one IP lens, as you were saying. We need to have more things happening for the land, not just small IP focused lens and just that. I think this will, if ever built, which I think won't be happening anytime soon, it would be a
yeah,
better land as a
usage.
whole. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
obviously we had an official event where we announced some of these details, and then
Mhm.
Disney True to Form moments after, only a week after they held Destination D23 and underwhelmed everyone, they, on a random Tuesday, as we call it, the random Tuesday announcement, they
Yeah.
decided that they didn't mention Destination D23, which is the park section of the
Mhm.
D23 fan club, they decided to just announce instead we're going to spend $60 billion on expansion, specifically in our parks and our cruise lines. And
Mhm.
the 60 billion, there's a great deal of arguing about it because it's not 60 billion on top of what they'd already spent. It's 60 billion that's getting spent, and there's a debate on how much would have been getting spent anyway. So the argument being that Walt Disney World was already getting 17, and
Yep.
California would have already been getting 8 or 9 anyway. So how much of this is new money? And this spurred everybody on to some furious debate
Mhm.
about where's this money getting spent? What does this mean? Is it actually new money? And where would it best be used? Now, we let's go with they've disclosed through securities announcement that they're investing $60 billion, and it's more than they were going to. So let's go on the side of they're probably telling the truth because they've just gone to the stock market and made a financially significant commitment that basically
Mhm.
means they're not tied to it, but they are kind of because they're
Yeah.
saying this is what we're going to be doing. So if you invest in us, you should expect us to spend this money.
Mhm.
Disney hasn't
Yep.
been typically spending too much. Well, they have been spending quite a bit of money, but it's been less than normal due to them buying Fox and it possibly not being as gratuitous to them as we would have thought. So let's cover off the boats first because I think you'll have a better insight to the parks. Currently, there's 2 boats under construction. One, which was a stereotypical sort of boat, which was the Disney Treasure, and it's
Mhm.
coming next year. It's due, I think it's like November, December time next year. It's kind of getting finished off just now. And the Disney Treasure is just a typical Disney massive ship that we were expecting anyway.
Yep.
And they've been working on that for years, 6 years or something. It's been getting built. The second one was there was the Global Dream. This was the China or Asia Pacific market ship that existed. And the Global Dream, despite being called the Global Dream, um, wasn't actually for Disney. It was for I can't even remember who was buying it originally, but
Yeah.
they went
Yeah.
bankrupt. And Disney
Mhm.
swooped in and said, "We want a mega ship, and
Yep.
we'll buy this mega ship." So they've got that. And it's going to be their biggest one. I think it's got something ridiculous. Like it's going to hold.
Yeah, it's
I think once
absolutely
you include
huge.
the crew, it's like 9,000, 10,000 people or something. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, and it was the global dream. It's coming in 2025 because it was already kind of moving along its build, and Disney's now just overhauling the build.
Mhm.
2025, early 2026, probably the latest, and it's going to be called the Disney Adventure.
Yes.
So we know we've got the Disney Treasure, we've got the Disney Adventure coming. So, and this one's going to be sent off to like Singapore or something. I think they said they were going to hide this one.
Yeah, I think it's Singapore, Australia, that side of the world, I think.
Yeah.
Not sure.
And then there's
Um,
an
yeah.
unnamed ship. There's an
There's
unnamed
another
ship,
one.
which, yeah, this is the unnamed one. No, they scrapped the second Dream. Is that the one you mean? Because that one's gone. They scrapped Global Dream 2 or whatever it was called. There is another
Hmm.
treasure-sized
Oh, okay. I
ship.
didn't know that. I thought that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
I thought that it was the last one that they unveiled, that just I think it was last year it started operation, and then it was a dream, and then the global, not a dream, the treasure, and then the global dream,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they
and
announced
that
they
was
announced
it.
an eighth ship. No, no, there's an eighth ship,
Oh wow,
which
they're
is
going full
also
in.
well, the Disney Wish and the Disney Treasure are kind of the same sort of class. So it's
Hmm.
like a Disney Treasure, Disney Wish sort of thing. So it's
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This they confirmed an eighth ship. So that was before. I mean, that was all announced before the 60 billion. So
Interesting.
there's, I
Okay.
mean, the 60 billion. They explicitly called out the cruise line, which means and if they're going to invest in the cruise line, that means only one of two things. They're either going to add more ships or they're going to add more private islands, both
Hmm.
which are, the Disney ships are currently running, I think it's 95% occupancy. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they could probably build another few ships and probably get away with it.
Hmm.
Typically, ships run about 78 to 80% occupied. So Disney at 95 is underserved.
Yeah.
And I think they make a decent enough profit. I mean, it's obviously Disney could always make more profit, but I think they make a decent enough profit. They're already the most expensive kind of cruise line that exists for the general sort of populace. So I don't think they're keen on ramping the price terribly more. Instead, they would rather serve more people at an already good profit margin.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, it
ships.
makes
Never
sense.
been on. I've not been
If
on
it's
one.
making
I
money,
would
why
love.
stop?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to try a Disney cruise because everybody sort of raves about it. So I'm going to try this. And then the parks. We come to the parks. You probably are more clued up than me. What have we heard about the 60 billion? Where's it getting spent?
Well, as you said, it's going to be shared with the cruise line. Um, but they did say that they were planning on doubling the investment in the parks, in the sector, um, compared to the last decade. So last decade we had a lot of stuff going for the parks. You had the Cars Land in this DCA, New Fantasyland, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, Pandora, Galaxy's Edge, two Galaxy's Edges, Toy Story, Ratatouille, Avengers Campus. You got all that, and they are saying that they'll be doubling that amount of investment, which is, if true, some amazing news. And I personally don't see where they would, spend that amount of money. No, I just don't know. That's just so much. If they really do plan on spending that amount of money worldwide, because this is worldwide, I just cannot see them spending that amount of money without building a new theme park in
See,
either
this is
resort.
this is this is where I get kind of into the debate because people are like, oh, by the time you add a new land to the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom, which I do think Animal
Mhm.
Kingdom's got lots of extra space. Epcot's
Yep.
already a massive park. Like there is a limit to how much you can put in one park.
Hmm. It's
The
huge.
Magic
Epcot is an
Kingdom,
absolutely huge park. Yeah.
yeah, the Magic Kingdom, um, as much as it's getting an expansion beyond Thunder Mountain, I don't think it can take terribly much more. And I think that's
Hmm.
due to the fact that it's on an island. Well, it's not on an island, but it looks as though it's on an island where you have to go by boat or monorail.
Hmm.
And the great
Hmm.
problem everybody has is at the end of the night, you have 50, 65,000, 80,000, 100,000, whatever number of
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
get out. So if you add another, let's go crazy. Let's say they're adding an extra 2 lands, 3 lands, 4 lands. You can bump up the capacity with 10, 15,000 people each. So you're now at 150,000 people. How do
Yeah.
you get them out?
I don't know.
And when you're faced with that problem, there just is you can't enjoy parades because there's too many people. You already can't
Hmm.
enjoy the fireworks. There's
Yeah.
people running around with the little speaker systems. They've got tape on the ground. It's not pleasant. So the answer is certainly not going to be let's create another 4 lands and make it even more unpleasant.
Yeah.
So I am personally skeptical. And the other thing is, these little lands keep getting built, but they add nothing to the general entertainment. So if we think about like Disneyland in California, when they kind of went round the back and they done their sort of um, Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, they
Hmm.
decided when they were expanding that way, they thought, well, we'll put a show on the lake, we'll put Fantasmic there, the main fireworks. Create additional, we'll create
Yeah. Yeah.
additional, activities.
Hmm.
And I think there was a point that it needed done, or otherwise there was no way that many people could be in the park. And Disneyland in California doesn't struggle with the fact that people can walk to the car park, they can walk to their hotels, they can walk to their buses. You can't do that at the
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom. The Magic Kingdom,
Yeah,
you've got to.
absolutely.
You're
You
stuck.
can walk to two hotels. You can walk to Grand Floridian and the Contemporary, but
Contemporary,
that's it.
yeah. And
But that's it.
they're not close. Like, it's funny when people say, they like being right close to the Magic Kingdom and stuff. It's interesting because in Disneyland Paris, you've also got Disneyland Hotel that is on the doorstep of Disneyland Paris. That's a true park hotel. But
Uh huh.
the Santa Fe, which is the furthest away, and it's Disney's greatest value hotel, the
Mm-hmm.
Santa Fe is actually closer to Disneyland Paris than the Grand Floridian is to Walt Disney World,
To the Magic
to
Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I mean,
That's crazy.
when we talk about it being walkable, I mean it is walkable, but it's not close. So
Yeah.
there's a whole argument there that I don't think the Magic Kingdom should be the one that they expand further.
Well, but then which park would it be? Animal Kingdom?
I think it'll be a fifth gate, and everybody tells me I'm wrong on this, but statistically, it has to be a fifth gate. Universal's about to open its third gate, which
Mm-hmm.
is going to be Epic Universe. And by all accounts, Epic Universe is opening as a fantastic park. Like, it's not opening
Oh
as a
yeah.
starter park that grows, it's opening as a full
A
day,
Walt Disney
fully
Studios.
fledged. Yeah, it's walking in as a decent park on day one.
Yeah. It's gonna be
The the
huge.
the other thing is, and I know it's an outside possibility, and everybody thinks it won't happen, but I mean, you're only one purchase away from Universal acquiring SeaWorld, or at least doing a sort of
Mm-hmm.
double ticket with them. And if they
Yeah,
do a
yeah.
double ticket with them, and keep in mind, Epic Universe is a stone's throw away from the water park and SeaWorld and Discovery Cove for
Mm-hmm.
SeaWorld in Orlando. You're going to be up against Disney would struggle against a resort that had two water parks in Volcano Bay and Aquatica. It had
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
a premium park in Discovery Cove and had an Epic Universe, an Islands Adventure, and a Universal Orlando. Like, Disney would struggle in their hometown of Orlando, and I don't think they can let that happen. Now,
Yeah.
if you ask me, how do you get out of having all the costs a fifth gate when you don't want one? Well, that's easy. You create your villain's kingdom and it opens later on in the day. It opens at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So you don't have the staffing issues that you've got during the day.
Mm.
And you use it as a way to take people out the Magic Kingdom and
Yeah, yeah,
Epcot
yeah,
at
yeah.
night
Yeah, that's
and send
interesting.
them to another park.
Yeah.
I think you could, and the other thing is, if it's going to be a late night park, you don't have to spend as much money on theming the rides because a lot of them would just be outside in the dark. You get
Yeah,
away with
that's
a lot.
interesting.
You get,
Yeah.
lighting is a lot cheaper than building a show building to put lighting inside. So
Yeah. Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
that that is my outside belief that they're going to do that. I think that Disneyland Paris is probably going to get a couple more land tucked its way. I think we're probably going to see Runaway Railway. We're going to see the Star Wars expansion, Discovery Land. We're going to see a
Yeah.
bulking of the Walt Disney Studios, and I think maybe not delivered in the next 10 years, but I think within the next 10 years, we're going to hear the words third gate because
Oh yeah.
quite frankly, the political situation in China is such that Disney need a Chinese partner in Shanghai more than ever. They have one. The state is already a partner, but I can see that going to the same sort of deal they've got in Japan, where a Chinese entity actually owns the
Yeah.
Disney parks and just pays
And
royalties. I
and
think the
they get
political
licensing
situation,
fees. Yeah.
yeah. So I think the
Yeah.
political
Yeah.
situation is such.
That
I
could
don't
happen. Yeah,
think
that's a good point. Yeah.
TWDC, I don't think is going to spend on another park in China that potentially there's going to be a whole political situation with pull out. Like, that doesn't
Yeah,
seem
that's interesting. I I, I didn't think about that.
so. I think the money's
Mm.
going to get spent closer to home, and potentially, I mean, Walt Disney World's at capacity, Disneyland California is at capacity. There has to be a plan on the table somewhere that they're looking at somewhere like Texas or something for their third resort
Mm,
in America.
that's what I gotta
There's no
disagree. I don't think they'll build a new resort in America. That- No, that would just take too
Well,
many
what
people
would
off
you
the other
what,
ones.
what would you do? You've got two resorts that are absolutely packed. Both of them are at capacity.
I mean,
Do you
you
build
can
more? I
expand.
mean, I
You,
would
you can
build. Yeah, you would
expand.
expand them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you can expand Walt Disney World like a lot. You can build two more theme parks without having any trouble with zoning it. You know, they have the space. It's
Yeah,
not like that. And then you have the Disneyland Forward project, which is going very well, which should see them expanding that resort even further with new attractions, lands, hotels, shopping, etc. So I
I
think
think that what Disneyland Forward's going to do though is it's going to take the concept of having two parks away, and I think that
Mm.
that they're never going to get rid of the two parks. I don't mean they're going to take away from having two parks. There's too much invested in that. But I think you're going to see multiple attractions that cross the boundary between one park and the other.
so something like what happens in Universal Orlando with the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah, I think you're going to see though. I think you're going to see like skyways and monorails and
Hmm.
whatever. And I think you're going to have attractions that cross the boundaries of the park because it allows them to just expand the capacity
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
both. Well, you know,
It-
well,
It's a
they're
good
that
idea.
close together. I
I
still
mean,
think I'm still
the
convinced.
same could happen in Disneyland Paris with the Walt Disney Studios and Disneyland Park. The same thing could
I'm,
happen.
I'm pretty sure it will.
Oh, you think it will? Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
I do. I think they're that close. Eventually, it just makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, and now
yeah,
we
I
can
agree.
talk about some stuff that we know a bit firmer. We've got, let's go to Disneyland Paris specifically in our last sort of topic here. We've got confirmed the Alice in Wonderland stunt show.
Yes, it was announced that the skate show BMX Alice in Wonderland will be indeed happening and will be starting early next year. So that's something.
And
Will
then
be yeah,
that's, yeah, there's not much we can say on it until it comes. I'm going to give it the benefit of
yeah,
the doubt.
yeah, same.
And then secondly, the Disney Village bounced on. I mean, it's funny because rather than announcing the Disney Village or a massive partner with a global brand like McDonald's is now doing this and releasing a bit more phasing or a bit more timelines and saying, Restaurant Rosalie
Mhm.
is getting very close to opening. Nah. Instead, we kept all that from D23. We didn't announce any of that. And then, quite literally on a random Tuesday night, we
It was
kicked
in
out
Random Tuesday.
we kicked out a picture of possibly like the world's biggest McDonald's or something, which it needs to be because Disneyland Paris McDonald's is attacked daily by like thousands of people. And
Yeah,
then
I think
we kicked,
when it opened, that the Disney Village McDonald's was the biggest one in Europe, I think.
yeah.
So it tells you something when that McDonald's is completely full to the brim every single day. Uh, so they need to
And
build a bigger one.
you've got the new theme. The new theme is exactly the same as the rest of the kind of the village, which is kind of woody and
Yeah.
green. Um,
I do
so
think
that's
I remember hearing just one little thing. I remember hearing about different zones in village. So you'd have that ecological wood area, which
yeah,
would be the closer to the hotels, and then you'd have an Art Deco area where Five Guys and the World of Disney is. So and then another one which I can't remember, but if someone knows, please do confirm. But I think this is supposed to happen. So you'd have different, almost as shopping lands in
yeah.
village, each which I mean, it sounds like a good idea. I'm not sure how they'll accomplish this, but I
Well,
think it
I've got
could
some
work.
plans. I've been,
Hmm.
I mean, since we discussed it, I've thought about it more and more. So,
Okay.
I mean, Disneyland Paris have mucked around since the day that they had the Disney Village on security arrangements and such, but I think we're getting closer to a clearer picture. And this is what I've now decided is probably most likely to happen. So, we're going to create a new entrance behind what would be the current events tent, and it's going to be to the left hand side of that. I think that's going to be the new entrance to the village. I think you're going in that way, and I think that
Oh, to the left of the events arena.
yeah. So where McDonald's
Oh,
is right now, you're ploughing through the current McDonald's. Like there's
yeah.
gonna be a big
That.
road straight in.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you're going to get that's going to be the new route in, and I think that all traffic is going to get put through there. So like all pedestrian traffic, when you're going to Disneyland Paris in the morning, like if you're staying at the High Park Terrace, the LEC, if you're staying in Val d'Europe or that, you are about to get put through the village to get to the park. I'm fairly convinced
Oh,
this is part of the
really?
plan. Yeah. Well,
Okay, okay.
when you think about it, you can suddenly add so much more traffic to that street if people can't just bypass it to get home. If you've got to go in that way and go out that way, it makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Um, so you've got. I think that's a good new path, and I think that the Avenue Paul Ceremy, the south entrance that we all
Mm-hmm.
love because it's the fastest entrance into Disneyland Paris. I think
Yeah.
that's just going to be a bit of wall until you have the kind of cut that gets you into the train station.
Hey, but
I think.
what happens with the five guys in Vapiano building then?
Well, that's this is why it's brilliant because where they're going to put the gate, Five Guys and Vapiano and everything are going to be within the secure zone now.
So you put the gate at the right side of
Well, you can
the
put the
Paul's
gate. You can
Pyramid?
put the gate. You can move the gate all the way up now, all the way up to in front of what would be Five Guys is the very. You know how the gate's quite far back.
Hmm. But then why not
You
just
can
enter
bring.
from there, from that
Well,
area?
you can, but they're going to brick that off because they don't want you going through there. They want you going through the village.
Hmm.
I
Interesting.
bet we're getting put. I bet the gate's getting brought up and we're going through the village.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So they could create just one entrance, to this into the secure area.
I
Yeah,
mean,
okay. I
I
can see that
think
happening
it's gonna
actually.
be. The other thing is, it's too convenient to get dropped off by a taxi there, and you get into Disneyland Paris arguably better than half the hotels that Disney own can
Yeah,
do.
that's true. That's true.
So I think you're going to see this. I think the village is going to become the entranceway, which makes a lot of sense. To be fair, that
Yeah,
you're
it
coming
does.
in
It
and
does. Yeah.
you're getting shuttled in and out the village on your way in and your way out. So I think that's probably a kind of certainty. McDonald's and some third parties are going to play a huge part in that. I think that Disneyland Paris are going to lean heavily on third party agents.
Mhm. I think that's
So we're
the
going to see a
plan.
lot.
Have third party shops similarly to Springs.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think
I think that's the
I
plan.
think that's
Yeah.
I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. And I think that's
Hmm.
probably what they will do. There's also going to be, I'm convinced the fourth lakeside hotel is going to be a thing. Disneyland Paris events, there just aren't that many big conferences and stuff. So I don't. I think they're probably just going to go with the Newport Bay's Conference Center and the
Hmm.
Hotel New York Conference Center, and they'll probably do
Oh.
away with their massive event arena because I don't think it gets used as much as it probably would.
Hmm.
Um, There's also nothing comparable in Walt Disney World.
I mean, you have
So
I think the contemporary is the biggest, like
yeah,
similar to conference stuff, and I think that's
but
where
I
they
don't
help.
think it's as big as I don't think it's as big as Disneyland. I'm checking it just now, but I can't.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't
it's
know. I
pretty
don't
big.
know.
Yeah, you don't. No, it's not as big. It isn't as
No.
big, or at least
Okay.
the outline says it's not. So I think we're going to see that resort. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, but they've just done up the events arena," and the events arena really, yeah, but they could have a hotel that could be making them a lot more per
Yeah.
night,
No.
and I
Yeah.
think
I'm fairly certain that the next hotel will be where the event arena is now. It's just prime real estate, and it would be the second closest to the parks, maybe the third compared to New York. But it's just
yeah,
such a good spot that I don't think they'll, you know,
I mean, the
hold
spot's
back.
big enough to almost take the full size of the main Sequoia Lodge building. It wouldn't probably take the
Mm-hmm.
the lodges, but it
Yeah.
would take the main building. So it'll be a
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hotel.
Yeah, it can
The
be a
other thing,
huge hotel.
the other
Absolutely
thing that
huge.
people
Yeah.
probably forget as well is the balloon, the Panoramic balloon,
Uh-huh.
is not. I mean, it isn't anchored in the sense that it's terribly permanent. Like that could be moved quite easily to somewhere else on the lake.
But why would you move it?
Well, it gives you an awful lot more space there.
For what? For the village?
Well, yeah, if you need to expand the village or you need to go out, that's what they've done at Disney Springs. They bumped out and they built walkways and they built,
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
very
It
easy.
used to be Pleasure Island, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they've
interesting.
got options. Like I mean, that balloon literally. I mean, it's secured, but it could move quite easily and quite cheaply. Like the balloon is used to moving, and the ramp onto it's just movable steel. It's not. There's
Yeah, yeah.
nothing there that's solid foundation. So you've got another huge bit of space there. You could invest.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's
and
interesting.
I want to put one other thing that I'm fairly convinced is coming. I'm pretty sure that an indoor water park has to be on the agenda somewhere.
Yes, that's
Um,
something. I had a chat with Caroline Reed, which
mhm,
is which writes for Forbes, and was the
mhm,
one that made that article where I was very happily included. And that she was telling me that she wrote an article because Disney has been developing some sort of Marvel themed aquatic park,
mhm.
something like that. I don't quite remember, but I mean it. Marvel has been paying off here in Paris quite a lot with
Massively,
Hotel New
yeah.
York and Avengers Campus. So could a water park be built just around that theme? I don't know, but I think it's an interesting idea.
I think you could build a water park around almost no theme if you had to. I mean, they could. I
Yeah,
think you all
sure.
theme
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
obviously, but
yeah.
and I think if we're looking at the land, they have. If you're on Avenue Paul Serme again, and you want to
Hmm.
keep it kind of linked in with everything, I'm almost sure it's going to be opposite the Newport Bay.
So that
Almost
triangle area
the
between
triangle
Newport
area.
and
Yeah,
Walt Disney Studios.
yeah. There's a little car park there just now. I'm fairly
Yeah.
convinced if they were going to build a water park, it's getting put there. It's in walking distance. It's part of the main complex. It's a very
Hmm.
easy investment for them. They wouldn't have to build any more infrastructure to get to it. They wouldn't have to. You know what I mean? There's just so many quick wins with building your
Yeah,
water
yeah,
park there
yeah. That's
that
interesting. Yeah.
it's next to train stations. It's easy. If I was going to do something easy, that would be the easy cheap.
Hmm.
It could be a decent size, leave a bit of room for expansion as well. Because you've got to remember, water parks are never that big.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, you could fit probably the old Walt Disney Studios in that plot of land, so it's quite big.
yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's my that's.
originally this,
I think
yeah, yeah,
I was going to say I think that's definitely coming.
yeah. I think that if a water park is in development, it could be a great area for that. Originally, it was going to be the big convention center slash hotel, something similar to the Contemporary. But since plans have changed a lot, it could be a water park. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
I think that's probably the plan.
Yeah.
Um, and I think
Okay.
that gives that. I mean, people that gives them something to like really. I mean, that's a new marketable thing. It's a great, it's
Hmm.
relatively quick to add a water park. Like we've seen it with
Just
Volcano Bay and stuff. It had so much
yeah,
to
yeah,
market
yeah.
and offer a resort.
That's
Yeah.
true. I just think that's there's one problem with the water park, and that is that Disney now is just so much focused in selling merchandise and exclusive merchandise and stuff. And there's just when you're at a water park, you're not shopping. It's very
Mm.
hard to promote that. There's no there's no shops. What are you gonna do? You're gonna carry the you know the thing you just bought all over the water park. I don't know. Just makes it harder to you know to buy stuff, which is something that Disney really likes.
Maybe. Well, it's speculation.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm just trying to see if there's any type of other side I'm not currently looking at. But yeah, it could work very well. I mean, it was planned for a water park was planned for the resort 30 years ago. So there
The other
must
thing is
be
we
some
know we
reasoning.
know there's we know there's demand as well because they used to offer the annual pass holders the ability to go to the Disney hotels for the
Yeah,
pools.
to the pools. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we know that they know there's some sort of demand that even pass holders want to go to some sort of water feature. So
Hmm.
hmm.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, that's
unless you
interesting.
have anything else, I think we're nearly ready to wrap this one up. I mean, we said it was going to be shorter, and it's been over an hour. So,
Oh wow. Yeah. No, I don't have anything else to say. I think that covered everything pretty well.
well, there has been a lot happening. So, thank you
Oh
once
yeah.
again for hosting and prodding
Thank
me
you.
and reminding me that we had to do it. I completely forgot. I was sitting playing with my phone, and I was like, oh. Well, thank you everybody for listening in. That has been another Disney Discord podcast. This will be available online shortly. Thank you to everybody who's listened live. And if you're not already in our Discord server, come and join it where we chat endlessly about randomness that happens around the Disney world.
Yes.
Um, any last words from you, Bernard?
Yeah, just a big thank you to everyone who has been listening, and yeah, see you next one.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.